It's the start of the vacation season, although I'm still freezing. I don't know about you, but it has to be hot for vacation. But perhaps you will be one of the many thousands of people turning to those Airbnb listings, looking for a place to stay. What you see on those postings may not be telling the whole story about who those hosts are. Valerie Willette is a member of our team. She looked into those 32,000 Airbnb listings, and she's right here to tell us what she found out going through those listings. That's a lot of, listings, right, to go through. What did you find?
Well, one of the most surprising findings was really how present Airbnb has become in Canada. What we did is we took a snapshot of one day in April in 16 Canadian cities, and we focused specifically on entire homes, entire apartments and condos to see just how present the company has become.
Right.
And we found ads everywhere, of course, in popular touristic destinations like Charlottetown and Whistler and Banff as well. That's expected. But we also found listings even in smaller regions like Fredericton or Regina. Now, what was really interesting is when we looked at who's really behind these accounts, and when we rounded up the figures, we found, in fact, that the most reviewed, the most active listings were mostly controlled by the same small group of people. And most of them are either multi-million corporations or small business owners. But the average consumer wouldn't necessarily know it. And if you could look, we have a couple of examples that we pulled. So take, for example, Airbnb host Alejandro. On his profile, he says he loves traveling, speaks many languages, is based in Montreal. But we did a little digging, and we found that until last week, he actually worked for a multi-million corporation as a, quote, Airbnb specialist. He managed more than 200 properties in 8 different Canadian cities. And then there's AJ's profile.
So he wouldn't have been right there for you if you said, hey, Alejandro, I have a question about so-and-so. He's not nearby or anything.
Well, he is. What the company told us is actually that once you got in touch with Alejandro, he made it clear he was an employee, but that was after you had booked and paid for the listing. So, and then you can see, looking at AJ's profile, which we pulled also, that's another entirely different kind of thing. Now, AJ told us that this isn't him. This is a fake picture, a stock picture he pulled off the internet. And AJ isn't his full name either, but he still manages 90 different listings. And we contacted a lot of these top multi-listers. A lot of them admitted AJ is not the only one who does this. They said that they use stock photos to protect their own privacies. And they told us that presenting themselves as ordinary homeowners rather than business or big corporations helps them with marketing. It allows them to add what they call a human touch to this community platform.
Right. Now, why should people really care? Say you're booking your Airbnb vacation, you've got your 2 kids, you need a certain number of rooms, etc. Why do you care if it's a corporation that's running it or Joe and Jody or whatever? Pick 2 names. Those are the people who are your hosts.
Well, that's the big question. And what housing advocates are saying is that these big companies, they have nothing to do with the home sharing vision that Airbnb has been selling, because these businesses, they may as well rent these apartments and condos full time. And that means that they may be taking away housing that regular long-term renters might need. And they may also contribute to rising up houses and rent prices in many Canadian cities. And that's a new reality that many cities are struggling with, not just in Canada, but worldwide. This Montreal urban planning professor I spoke to thinks that the answer is tax rules.
Most of what's happening on Airbnb isn't home sharing. Instead, it's something much more like commercial short-term rental operations. And I don't think there's any reasonable public policy justification for these to exist at all, let alone to be proliferating. So personally, I'm very much in favor of regulations that say home sharing is okay, commercial short-term rentals are not okay. And one of the most efficient ways to do that would be if the Revenu Quebec, or the CRA, a tax authority, uses a determination about what is your principal residence and says you're allowed to operate Airbnb out of your principal residence, but nowhere else.
And Airbnb, what's it saying about these concerns, Valerie?
Well, we shared all these findings and figures with them ahead of time, and they declined an interview. What they say is that the homes that are listed on their platform account for only a tiny percentage of the total housing supply. They also admitted that they do allow commercial players on their platform, but they say it's to offer greater choice for the clients.
I know the story will have more reaction. Thanks for that. CBC's Valerie Willette right here in studio.